All right, hello, amazing, amazing artists. Today you're hanging out in our Zoom studio. So you can see we've got our makeshift green screen back here, life of a now online teacher. So today, hello, hey, today we are going to do Revenge of the Sixth inspired lesson. So we're going to do an R2D2 lesson. What you need to get is something to color with. So you can use markers, you can use crayons, you can paint with markers, again with water. You can use anything, color pencils, whatever you want to do, whatever you choose will work. So go ahead and grab those. And then the next thing, you want something to draw with, so you can grab a pencil, anything. You also want something to draw on. So paper, any kind of paper is good. I'm using just regular sketchbook paper. You can grab watercolor paper if you're going to paint. That's good too. If you want to do this on a paper bag that you got at the grocery store, you can do that. You can also use tempera paint or watered down acrylic on a window. Ask permission first, but you can do that as well. I don't know if you know this or not, but here's a little fun tip. Whenever I was the art club advisor, we used to use Sharpies to draw on windows before we would color them in with tempera paint. So you have to test the windows first. I am not telling you to grab Sharpies and do it. Some windows, actually, that's not a good idea, but a lot of windows, you can just take a Sharpie and draw on it and then it'll come right off. Might take a little bit of elbow grease, but it'll come right off of there. Any kind of marker will come right off too, so you can use that. But grab some things to draw with, some things to color with, some paper, and come on back and get ready to make some R2D2 artwork. So I just finished doing this with one of my awesome art classes from the elementary school that I teach at, and they rocked it. They did a great job and it was so much fun. So I know you guys can do it as well. So grab that paper and get ready. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my piece of paper and get ready to do this with you. Well, to teach you how to do this. Okay, so today, first thing you need to do is you can decide which way you want your paper to go. If you want it portrait, which is up and down like this, or if you want it landscape, this way. So you decide which way you want it to go. If you make it landscape, your R2D2 is just going to be smaller. If you make it portrait, you can make a larger R2D2. So with the larger one, you want to go this way. Okay? Portrait, up and down. All right, so the next thing that you want to do is grab a pencil or something to draw with. And you're going to start by drawing basically a gumdrop shape. R2D2 is pretty much a gumdrop. He's a robot. So we've got to give him an arch to start out with. We're going to go ahead and go in the middle, make an arch, go down like that. So go ahead and make it. It's a little crooked because I was looking this way. I'm going to straighten up these lines a little bit, make it look a little more like a robot. If you want to grab something to make straight lines, I used a sketchbook. I guess I just totally forgot to tell you that. Something to make straight lines, you can use a marker's edge. Anything you have will make a straight line. So let me fix my gumdrop. That's a little leany. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. And then the next thing that you want to do after you make your gumdrop shape is to add the bottom. Now the bottom on R2D2, it should be more, whoop, I'm gonna straighten this side out a little bit more. It should be rounded a little bit like this because he's basically a cylinder with a ball inserted inside of it. So that's what you want to go for. So we're going to connect the two bottom parts. I'm going to grab my gray marker and show you because the lighting in here, because of the dreary day, is not the best. My apologies. I'm not professional. So you're going to take that and connect. I mean, I am a professional, but not with lighting. If anybody wants to come and do the lighting for me, I'd love that. Go ahead and connect it like that. And I'm just going to go ahead and go over my body shape so that you guys can see it better. So the top of his body, like that, kind of looks like a little ghost, but it'll be R2D2 when we're done. All right, the next thing that you need to do, I've got a little Bop It. Somebody tried to call me. I've got a little Bop It R2D2 here, and he looks like this. So if you can tell, see on the bottom, or on the very top, there's a little blue. That's what we're gonna put on next. So on the very, very top, we're just going to make a little curved line. That's gonna be blue. We're going to go down some and make another curved line right here. And that's where it's going to have the little sections that go blue, gray, blue, gray, blue, gray, like that. So we're going to go down just a little bit farther. Make another curved line. Like that. Ooh, whoops. I think I might draw it again for you here. Mine got a little wonky. Here we go. We'll fix it. Gumdrop shape. Curve the bottom. See, even the teacher has to redo it sometimes because drawing off to the side, I made a bit of a boo-boo. Curve at the top. Second curved line, slightly farther down. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is a third curved line. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that now since I'm fixing my R2. Since I made the first one a bit wonky. Going to make that line thick. The second line I'm going to make a little bit thicker. And then I'm going to skip some space and I'm going to make my third curved line, which is going to be where the bottom of his head is. So this is what it looks like. We've got one up there. Second one I made thicker, and then the third one, which is the bottom of his head. So 1, 2, 3. All right, so the next thing that you're going to do, and I'm sorry if I'm getting really loud, the next thing that you're going to do is we're going to make those little areas up here, vents or compartments for Jedi weapons, whatever R2 sticks up in there. And you're going to go ahead and make lines that curve in towards the center, but straighten as they get towards the middle. So they go in towards the center, get a little straighter, get pretty much straight up and down, angle in towards the center, and then we've got that last area right here. So what we're going to do here is make that top blue. In here it's going to be gray, blue, gray, blue, gray, blue. All right. So go ahead and if you've got a blue crayon, a blue marker, grab your blue. If you want to do it the same way that we did with turning watercolor into paint, you can outline with your blue and then add your water on your brush. So I'm just going to fill it in with marker. I'm going to go ahead and go blue. Very top section, blue. Very top. Right up here, we're going to go blue. Like that. And then I started this one blue. The next one's going to be gray. Blue. I'm going to leave it white because I have my blue marker with me right now. And then gray. And this one's going to be blue. All right. Now with the gray ones, I'm going to do the watercolor thing right now because it'll make a nicer gray. My gray is pretty dark, as you can see. So I'm going to make a light version of that. with my brush and water so you can see. You can use your gray crayons. You can use whatever you want. You can stop the video once it's live, go find a brush and water and create with me, or yell, hey, give me a brush and water, please, because you always want to add please. You get much more when you add please. All right, so you're going to take that little bit of water on your brush and just go over top of that gray that you've got right there and just brush it up into that section. Go over top of that gray marker, brush it up into that section. So now you've got a much lighter gray. It might be really hard to see, but it actually is light gray. So that's what you're going to do. You can even take that water around. If you put a nice thick gray line and it's not getting gray enough for you in those areas, you can take your brush and go around that gray line. And it's okay if you pick up a little bit of blue. It'll just make it look a little bit more metallic. All right. So the next thing that you're going to do, if you are a huge Star Wars fan, I love Star Wars. But I'm also really bad at remembering like all the little details. So please cut me some slack if I say something that you're like, that she's wrong. But that's okay. You can just say it to yourself and be like, oh. And then you can send me a message and say, hey, this was the real thing. I'm going to darken that a little bit right there. The next thing that we need to do is give him the little black, I call it his eyeball, but his little camera eyeball. So we're going to do that. Right in this section, you're going to go ahead and add a circle in the middle. And you want to leave a little bit of white. Because if you leave a little bit of white, it looks like it's shiny. It looks like it's made of glass or some kind of space-like material. So we're going to leave a little bit white and the rest of it black. Like that. All right? So then he has, the area around there is a little box. Okay? So we want to add that little box. Now I'm going to grab my pencil and draw it with pencil first, and then I'll add my color. And I'll show you why. So what you want to do is go ahead and you're going to draw a straight line right above the eye. And then you're going to take two angled lines out. 1, 2. And then you're going to close it off. So down here, you're going to close it off that way. You can make it more of a straight up square if you would like to. Now, I will tell you my reference for my R2D2 that I'm drawing right now is my little Bop It R2. So that's my reference right now. So he's got a 3D section right there that is popping out. And we're going to show, if you don't want to make it 3D, you don't have to. But here's how you do it if you want to. So you're going to draw just a little line that curves up and out right there. Whoop. Curves up and out. Okay? Then this section right here, we're going to do a little up and out right here. And a smaller one, a slightly smaller one right here. Okay? And then you're going to connect those lines. So I'm connecting down and I'm connecting across. Like that. So that gives it a little bit of a three-dimensional feel when you're drawing your R2. Now the next thing that he's got is he's got some other like little detail-y stuff if you want to add that underneath, but you can go ahead and add the little box that's under here like so. Make sure I'm up in the camera. You should see the rigging. You would laugh. All right. It involves a baseball glove, a dinosaur, and a mug. So anyway, that's how I'm holding my camera up right now. Whatever it takes, right? So that little square down there. And then the next thing you're going to do is add a circle slightly off to the side. That circle is going to be red. Okay? So this part right here, we can also make three-dimensional. Now on the same side that you put the little three-dimensional area over here, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to add an angled line going up, and it's going to go vertical and touch like so. If you have questions, please type them out. I can see your comments today, so I can definitely respond to you. If you have any questions, or if you're like, slow down, let me know, all right? Okay, so the next thing is we want to add some more details to him. We can add that little gun that's off to the side. On the R2 that I have, it's a circle right here. And then that circle goes up and off to the side. Now, here's the tricky way that you have to kind of do it. You're going to make another circle, but not complete it. So you kind of almost make like a C, like that. And then you're going to connect that to the front circle. So we're going to add connecting lines to that front circle. Again, kind of like pie shapes. Coming into the front, making it look a little bit 3D. All right. I'm going to add one more, a little bit more on this side. All right, I am losing stuff out of the bottom of my sketchbook. All right, so the next thing that you can do is start adding other things to the side of R2. You can add some other panels over here if you want to add another rectangle. Maybe another rectangle. It all depends on whichever way his head is turned, how many things that you see. There's usually these little rectangles right here. On the other side, there's like a small rectangle right here. And then there's, on this side, I see a stacked 2 rectangles. And then another wide, well, not wide, but long rectangle right here. So add whatever you want, make it, you know, your R2. He can have whatever pieces and parts you want. This is the time that you get to be the designer. You can design this R2 however you want and give him all the parts and compartments you want him to have, all right? So have fun with it and make sure that you add what you want because it's yours. All right, so down in here, the next thing that we're going to do is add some blue long compartments. Lots of long compartments on him. There's 3. So we're going to go 1. We're going to curve it around like this. We're going to kind of curve that line to match the curved line that's right here. You'll make about the same curve right here. I'm not used to drawing on my shoulder like a parrot. So this is an adventure. I'm going to call this parrot drawing. All right. All right, so the next one, same thing. You're going to draw, and you can close it off with 2 vertical lines. So you draw your curved lines, and then you put 2 vertical lines. So we're going to do curved line, curved line. And you can add 2, you can add 3. Maybe your R2 is far more advanced and he has 6. I don't know. It's up to you. It's your R2. So we are, maybe he's not R2, maybe he's R7. I don't know. Okay, so I put 3 on there. You can put as many as you want. Whatever. It's a robot. You add your pieces. Okay, so the next part, I'm going to start adding some more long rectangles that go on the side right here. Now, all of this stuff is going to get outlined in gray because this part of his body is white. And then these are more like shadowed areas. They're divots. So the gray gives it that shadowed look. These will be blue, and we'll get to that. So don't worry about the color. It'll come. In the middle, he has some long rectangular panels right here with some cool little beep boop beep boops inside. That's the technical term, just in case you wondered. And then we're going to add some circles, maybe a little circle right here. I'm going to add some vertical lines. I'm just adding some things to make it look more like a robot. And you can add fun noises too. Watch. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop. And then it gets like more realistic. Because clearly when you make that noise, it ingrains in the paper. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't. But you can add whatever you want. So go ahead if you want to add some like long skinny things with lots of lines, because maybe you're envisioning or know that he has like a grate right there so that his motor doesn't become like overheated. We got to take care of him. Got to take care of R2. He's a hero. All right, so we need lots and lots of cool shapes. You guys can fill them up. Fill them up with your own rectangles, circles, and squares. If you want to keep them more simplistic with less circles and squares and rectangles, that's okay. It's okay. You add what you want to add, okay? All right, so the next thing we're going to do is add legs. Because he has to get around. He's got to save his people. All right, so we're going to add those legs. Now, here's how I'm adding my legs. I'm going to go ahead and add them. I'm going to grab my gray. All right, I'm going to add them as rectangles right here to start out with. 1, 2. Now you can get fancy because this part is actually rounded, but when you look straight on, it looks like kind of like rectangle. It's all in the perspective. But if you want to get fancy and you want to make it look like it's a little bit, I can see the side just a little bit, you can actually round out here just a little bit. Get fancy. Go ahead. We all like fancy. Fancy. All right. So go ahead and do that. Now on the sides, you want to make 2 skinny long rectangles. You can add other parts too, but this is how I drew mine. So if you want to go ahead and add a skinny long rectangle, goes down. It needs to go just below his body because then we can start attaching other things to it. Now, this other skinny long rectangle is going to end up being blue when we're done. So just keep that in mind. You can also, if you want to like start adding other parts, because if you look at R2, here's my reference again. If you look at him, he does have some other white pieces beyond the blue. So you decide. If you want to get extra fancy, we're getting fancy. We can add some more. All right, we're going to get extra fancy. So we're just going to add an angled line, straight down, squared off. Fancy. All right. Then we're going to go down. Let's see. Oh, make it a little small one. Make this one go down. And then a skinny, skinny rectangle right beside it. Skinny because it's a pipe. Yeah. Look, we're fancy. All right, we are building robots. Okay, it's serious business. Put your engineer hat on right now. Okay. So the next thing that you want to do is you want to add a little kind of section, a little rectangle on its side. Right there. Again, we're getting fancy. Okay? And then we're going to get a little less fancy right here. We're just going to make 2 angled lines. 1, 2, and close them off for the bottom of his foot. All right. If you want, you could put some like roller things if you think that they should be visible. You can put them down below, or you can put like fire and make him off into the sky. Whatever you want to do, that's okay. All right. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to recreate the same thing on this side. So here we go. 2 long skinny rectangles. 1 that go just down below his body. 2. And then we get fancy. So I'm going to try to go straight over from the other fancy. And I'm going to go out at an angle, just a little ways, down, and in. And then I'm going to make a tiny little rectangle, a longer, slightly longer rectangle, and then a skinny pipe that goes down. I'm going to even fill this skinny pipe in. We're going to make it look like it's a cord. Whoops. It needs to be a little higher. Okay. So now we need to add the bottom. Whoop. Add the bottom. Long rectangle. All right. And again, if your kiddo is not wanting to add all of the details that I'm adding here, it's okay. Just let them add whatever they want. It might just end up being the gumdrop with an eyeball. Okay? All right. So then I'm going to add my 2 angled lines. 1, whoops, that one got a bit extra flared. 1, 2, and close it. Okay? And then, he looks like he's crawling over. This side got a little high and this one's a little low. Guess what? R2 is going to be crawling over some rocks or something. I'm going to put something underneath there to kind of give him a reason to look like he's leaning, because that's what you do whenever something kind of happens that you're like, oh, that's not quite right. Make it right. Find a creative solution. So maybe he's like on the planet Naboo and, you know, there's a rock. So he's going up over it. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is go over top of this stuff. So I'm just going to go, and you guys can catch up if you just tuned in, or you can continue adding. All I'm doing right now is going around the things that are going to remain just gray outlines with white background. All right. So go around those. If I choose to make it blue later, that's okay too. I don't have to stick with it gray. I can choose to change that. All right, and I'm going to add a little gray like there. Outline some things, make some gray. Up here on the top, I'm going to go around that little controller. It's either a dial or, yeah, it looks like it's a dial. I was calling it a gun. So you're going to go ahead and go around all the stuff that you want to remain gray. And then all the stuff that you want to be blue, you can now, you know, switch to your blue. I'm going to grab my blue, close up my gray. Oh, I'm going to show you a way to make the blue around his little eyeball area lighter, so that it does look like it's 3-dimensional, because the background right here, we're actually going to go around it and make it dark so that it pushes back into the background like that. Darkness pushes back, light pulls forward. So think about that when you're making artwork. Dark goes back, light comes forward. All right, over here on this part, we're going to shade that in as well. Push that back. And then I'm going to fill in these areas that are blue. I'm filling those in right now. And if you noticed, my poor blue marker has been mistreated just a bit by my littlest artist here at my house, because he's, you know, little and he doesn't understand quite yet that you don't push really hard on your markers, because when you do, then they, you know, they push up into the marker, and that's not a good thing. So I kind of have to use this marker a little bit differently than normal, and it doesn't give me as nice of a line, but that's okay. All right, so then the next thing that's blue is over here on his leg. And as I mentioned in other videos, if you're using a marker and you want your marker to last a long time and you want it to color in really nicely, if you color up and down or side to side, or let's say it's the top part of his head and you want it to look round, if you color in that direction, it'll actually help to give the illusion of something's shape. And then also it'll help your marker to stay better longer. All right, so this is just up and down. What's happening is the ink inside the marker has to go into the felt part, which is in the bottom. And if you go really fast with a marker, you might have noticed that it starts to kind of like not be as vibrant. And it starts to fade out and it looks like your marker's all dried up. It's not always the case. Sometimes it's not dried up. Sometimes you just have to go slow and give the marker time to get the ink down into that felt tip that's down there. All right. Sometimes you can even put it in like a little bit of water or alcohol. Alcohol will dry it up, but water will sometimes. Now, the water, like I said, we can use to paint with. So we're going to do that. All right. Now, I'm not filling these ones in over here because I'm going to keep them a lighter blue. And here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to grab my, there it is. My paintbrush ran away. I'm going to grab my paintbrush and I just dipped it in water, and then I'm wiping that on the edge so it's not runny water. It just has a little bit of water on it. And then I'm just going to take that and go over top of this blue right here to make the blue wet, which will then release the color and turn it into watercolor. So if you've watched any of my other videos where I was painting with markers, that's how you do it. All right. So you paint over top of the piece that has already been colored. And I purposely did not outline this area because I didn't want it to be dark. I wanted it all to be this lighter blue. So I'm pulling my blue from the shadowed area. Like that. So that will give you a lighter blue just by adding water and painting on top of the shadowed area first without water, and then going into your other area. All right, and then you can take that color if it's still on your brush, and you can go into these other areas right here and fill them in. Or if your kiddo is just, you know, coloring away and filling it all in with crayons or markers or color pencils, whatever you do is perfectly acceptable. It's great. Okay? So I'm just showing you this way of doing it. And then bring it in, color it in. There you go. You've got light blue and dark blue just out of one marker, a blue marker. You've got two different blues. Okay, and then the next part that I want to add, oh, I forgot on the feet. I did add a little bit of detail on the feet on my other pictures, and it looks really neat. And this is how I did it. I just went down, over, down, over. So again, down, over, down, over. And then it gives it this very, you know, R2D2 kind of look. I'm going to add a little bit more of that blue, and then I'm going to show you how I got a light gray on the top of his head. Same thing with the marker and the water. But again, you can color it in with whatever you've got. So I need a little bit more blue to go inside some areas down here. Oop, I just touched it with my hand. So I'm just going to go over top of one of these to pick up some blue, and then I'm going to fill this in with the blue paint that I just made out of my blue marker. Hello, birdie. We have birds that are living right outside this window that I'm beside, and it actually has a couple babies out there. 3, actually, a few. It has 3 babies. All right, so there you go. I picked up some blue for that section, and then I'm going to go ahead and give it an outline of gray to kind of solidify the shape. All right, so my R2 is pretty much done. You can go ahead and add any more, you know, whatever colors you want to add to your R2, or maybe you want to add some more shapes to them. Go ahead. Another way to finish the R2 that looks really neat is if you get a black fine line marker or a black pen. You can go and add some details in with that. Maybe add some scratches and details and things like that, battle wounds, whatever you want to do. If you have a gray one, that would be, you know, nice as well. Oh. Okay, so the next thing that I did was I gave my R2 a hallway to be going down. And I did that through 1-point perspective. The way that you add, whoop, hold on. Whoop. Oh, no, no, no. Okay,